An historic moment for Canada after senators voted last night to pass the federal government's bill to legalize recreational marijuana. For more on this, I'm joined live now by Souccar. He is the former Deputy RCMP Commissioner appointed by Ottawa to create a task force also on legalizing cannabis, and he's with Aleafia Health. That's a lot going on there.
I'm an old guy.
Me too. Thanks for joining us, Raph. Okay, let's start here. This was a pillar of the Prime Minister's campaign in 2015. Although we knew this was coming, it's still too far and too fast for some people. Would more, in your opinion, more time have helped the law and order piece here, or would more time just equal more anxiety, more bureaucracy?
I think the latter is right. More time would just create. You had to set a time at some point, and provinces are going to have to be ready. They knew about it for 2 years. Law enforcement knew that it was coming. So it's now, if you want to make the analogy of a relay race, the baton is being passed from the federal government to the provinces and say implement it.
Bill Blair's been saying for a while now, you can't leave this in the hands of organized crime or the black market any longer. It's time to just move forward. But the retail model, it's far from settled right now, right? You've got a new premier coming in here, Doug Ford, who does not want to deal with government monopolies. If he has his way and it has to go legal, let's let the market deal with it. Quebec, Manitoba, they don't want homegrown. It's a pretty steep learning curve here when you consider all these parts, moving parts.
Yes, absolutely. And I think this is why when I made the analogy of a relay race, it's going to now be up to the provinces to implement measures that work for that province, whether it's going to be government sales, whether it's going to be private sales, whether they want to allow growing of cannabis at home, how many plants, under what conditions. So there is flexibility in this law going forward that will allow the provinces and municipalities to do things that work for them under their special conditions to look after their citizens, their youth, and make sure that it's implemented in a safe and secure way.
Let's talk about border issues. Now, if you're crossing in a car from Ontario into New York State, Michigan, and they ask you if you've smoked recently marijuana, you say, yeah, I have legally here. Can they say no to you? And so, should we lie and face that consequence instead?
Yeah, I would never recommend lying to a law enforcement official.
But how are they going to know
given
if I
my
smoked,
background?
6 months ago? Or
yeah, they're not. Yeah. They're not. The United States is a sovereign country, and they'll make whatever rules they want to put in place to protect themselves. The fact of the matter is, in the United States, they've had medical cannabis in many states for many years. They have even recreational cannabis in 9 or 10 states right now. So although there is an inconsistency between their federal law and their state law, we in Canada are going to do it in a way that is, I think, the right way. It's going to be legalized coast to coast. The eyes of the world are going to be on us. We can't stumble and fall.
Correct.
We got to get it right.
A lot of police services in this country, I believe, are kind of tied in knots right now about the drug driving enforcement. How that's all going to play out, proximity to schools, that kind of thing. When edibles and the drinks, become part of the whole system too. Do you empathize with those people that have to start, enforcing all this now?
Absolutely, because the hard work begins now. Yeah. The implementation phase is a lot of heavy lifting. I understand law enforcement, their position very well. We do have drug recognition experts. We do have standardized field sobriety tests. So there's a way to deal with this. And we got to remember also that the drug impaired driving piece is not a problem that legalization is going to bring. It's a problem now. Right. It's been a problem for years to come.
Souccar, thank you so much. It was an education.
Thank you for having me.